Have you seen the paper, Atkins?
Which paper, Under Secretary?
Take a look.
Samantha is hoping for world peace and a long hot summer. She seems very nice.
Not that bit, Atkins, the bit underneath.
Stinko Drinko Doc. This is data directive. But what does it mean, sir?
It means people have found out about big data, Atkins. I thought I told you to make the email long and complicated.
I did, sir.
And did you pass it to the communications department afterwards?
Yes, sir.
Then it should have been completely incomprehensible. The system's never failed before. How could people have found out? What could possibly have gone wrong?
I do have one thought, sir.
What?
I've heard rumours about something called Cut the Crap.
Go on.
Apparently, it's an app, Under Secretary. It decodes government communiques.
My God. Decodes them. My God. But surely such a thing would be prohibitively expensive. Nobody could ever afford it.
I'm afraid it's open source, Under Secretary.
Well, the cat's out of the bag now, Atkins. The Prime Minister himself has got wind of the situation, and he's on his way over.
You mean, Nadvik Clamouregg?
Is he the one that's Prime Minister?
Yes, sir.
Well then, yes, Atkins, I do mean him.
Under Secretary, have you seen the papers? Oh, big data! Oh, it's a meltdown, it's a disaster, everybody hates me! They're all out to get me! Oh, this is the end! Oh, I'm going to have to resign!
No, Prime Minister, there's really no need for that.
No, of course not, no need to resign! Everybody likes me, nobody wants me to resign!
Exactly, Prime Minister.
They all love me, don't they? I saved the country, they worship me, I'm a god in their eyes. They look up for their cup of soups, and they see me outlined against the horizon, like a mighty Viking.
Of course they do.
But they're angry, they want blood, you don't know them like I do. I've been out there, on the streets, I've met them, I've kissed their babies. The chavs, the scroungers, people with tattoos, you can't even understand what they say half the time.
They do sound ghastly. Thank God I've never met them.
Once they get angry, somebody's got to pay. They demand blood. Blood, I tell you. Oh, we need a scapegoat. Somebody's got to take the blame.
But it was departmental policy, Prime Minister. You rubber-stamped it yourself.
Oh, God! Don't tell me that! Oh, I can't keep track of all these policies. I don't know what's going on. How am I supposed to read through all those red boxes? How on earth did Maggie manage to do it? It must have been those testosterone injections.
Don't worry, Prime Minister. This will all blow over in a couple of days.
But they'll ask me questions about it. They make me go on telly, you know. Oh, you don't know what it's like. Millions and millions of staring eyes.
Don't worry, Prime Minister. If anybody asks you anything difficult, just say, "What do you mean?"
What do you mean?
That's it.
Brilliant! It's brilliant! It's an impenetrable defence! I'll be like the Iron Man! Bullets will bounce off me!
That's right, Prime Minister.
It's got an ordinary ring to it too, hasn't it? It's like something a bloke in a pub might say. That's what's so great about me, isn't it? I'm a bit like Churchill, and I'm a bit like Maggie, but I'm like an ordinary person as well. That's why the people love me. I'm their chum. I'm like, "Hi, how's it going, man? I'm down with the kids."
That's the ticket, Prime Minister. That ought to hold him for a bit. And now all we need to do is silence this trouble-making GP. Atkins?
Oh, yes, Under Secretary?
Fetch me a milky coffee and 2 shortbread fingers.
Have you seen all this about big data, Mascarpone?
Yes, Dr. Stead.
What the hell do your bosses at the Department of Health think they're playing at?
Well, I wouldn't pretend to be an expert, but from what I understand, big data is an innovative and exciting new enterprise which opens up fresh possibilities for research and development throughout the NHS.
For God's sake! That's exactly what you say about every new initiative. What I find particularly galling is that we in the consortium are doing some really top-notch work at the moment. We're really sticking it to secondary care. We've got our opponent on the ropes, and we're thumping him repeatedly in the kidneys. But our best efforts are constantly being derailed by one crackpot initiative after another from the Balloon Head Brigade at the Department of Health.
On the subject of big data...
When I was a younger man, Mascarpone, I used to attempt to play Monopoly with my son.
I didn't know you had a son, Dr. Stead. What was his name?
It was, well, never mind about that now. The thing is, I used to like a game of Monopoly, but he was always upstairs in his bedroom, fiddling about with his stamp collection. Unhealthy, in my opinion. When you play Monopoly, you learn valuable lessons about life. You land on your father's property, which has got a hotel on it, and you have to pay a great big fine, which you haven't got enough money for, and your father won't let you off it. So you go bankrupt, and then you run off upstairs, blubbing like a sissy. And that's how you learn about life. It's extremely good for you.
Yes, of course.
But you can't learn any valuable lessons about life sitting upstairs in your room, fiddling about with a lot of stamps. That's why I've always been suspicious of these bureaucrats at the Department of Health. Too divorced from reality.
Yes, Dr. Stead.
Anyway, one day my son finally did say yes to a game of Monopoly, with a funny little smile on his face. When I opened up the box, all the toy money had been snipped into bits, and the title deeds had been torn in half. I said to him, "Did you do this, you little blighter?" And he said, "Yes, Papa, I did, because you were horrible about my stamps." And he went running off to his room and slammed the door.
Oh, my goodness.
So you can see how bad for him that stamp collection was.
But on the subject of big data, Dr. Stead.
What?
It seems there's been a bit of a furore about it in the press.
Yes, but it's hardly surprising, is it? That's exactly what you lay yourself open to with this kind of rubbish.
The thing is, Dr. Stead, a lot of the criticism seems to be coming from within the NHS. In fact, it seems to be coming from one particular GP.
Yes, which just goes to show that GPs have got a much firmer grasp of reality than those initiative monkeys you work for.
I've just had a memo through about it. The GP in question is Dr. Hairy.
Hairy?
And they wondered if you could possibly have a quiet word with him.
Hairy, eh? That backsliding blighter. I've been looking for an excuse to screw him into the floor. He's the type of odious little tick who used to make fun of me when I was at school, just because I was a prefect. A sneering little bolshie, in fact.
But perhaps you don't feel that you're the man for the job, as you seem to sympathise with most of his views.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I'm the man for the job, all right. I'll make him backpedal. He'll be backpedaling so fast you won't see him for dust. By the time I'm finished with him, you'll be able to put him in for a reverse version of the Tour de France.